Adrian discovered his curse on the morning of his first gallery showing. He'd spent 6 months preparing for this moment, 12 paintings, each one a carefully crafted lie about who he was and what he felt. The art world wanted passion, so he'd painted passion. They wanted depth, so he'd manufactured depth. They wanted a tortured artist with a compelling backstory, so he'd invented one. None of it was real, but it was exactly what would sell. He stood in front of his featured piece, a large canvas titled "Drowning in Light," waiting for the gallery owner to arrive. He'd painted it in 3 days, channeling emotions he didn't actually feel about a childhood he'd never actually had. Then something strange happened. The paint began to move. At first, Adrian thought his eyes were tired. But no, the colors were literally shifting on the canvas, swirling and reforming. The dramatic sunset he'd painted melted away. The drowning figure disappeared. In their place, a new image emerged, Adrian himself sitting in his apartment, scrolling through his phone, eating takeout, looking bored. The title changed too, the letters rearranging themselves. Tuesday night, nothing special. What the... Adrian grabbed a rag and tried to wipe the canvas, but the paint was completely dry. This was the image now. His lie had been replaced with the truth. Panicked, he ran to the next painting. Same thing. His dramatic depiction of a father's rage had transformed into "Dad, teaching me to ride a bike. It was nice." His abstract representation of the void within now showed him laughing with friends at a bar, retitled "Pretty Good Life, Actually." One by one, every painting in the gallery had changed. Every carefully constructed narrative had been replaced with mundane truth. His tortured artist persona, painted in bold strokes across a massive canvas, now showed him browsing Instagram, captioned, "Mostly fine, just wants validation." The gallery owner, Patricia, arrived to find Adrian standing in the center of the room, surrounded by his honest, unmarketable truth. She stared at the paintings in silence for a long moment. "What is this?" she finally asked. I don't know. They changed. This isn't what I painted." Patricia walked slowly from piece to piece, studying each one. Adrian braced himself for anger, for accusations of sabotage, for the cancellation of his show. Instead, she started laughing. "This is brilliant," she said. "Absolutely brilliant. The honesty, the rejection of artifice, the commentary on social media culture and the performance of suffering. Adrian, this is exactly what the art world needs right now." "But it's not. I didn't mean... The opening is in 4 hours. Don't change a thing." She pulled out her phone. "I need to update the press release. The painter who couldn't lie, that's what we'll call the exhibition. It's perfect." She left before Adrian could protest. He tried to repaint. He went home, grabbed fresh canvases, and attempted to create something dramatic, something sellable. But the moment he tried to paint anything that wasn't true, the colors refused to cooperate. They'd smear and run, forming shapes he didn't intend, revealing truths he tried to hide. He painted existential crisis, and ended up with worried about money, mostly. He painted childhood trauma and got, remember that time I embarrassed myself at school? Still think about it sometimes. He couldn't lie anymore, not with paint. The gallery opening was torture. Critics and collectors filled the space, drinking wine and praising his radical honesty and brave vulnerability. They stood in front of Tuesday Night Nothing Special and called it genius. A renowned art critic shook his hand vigorously. Finally, someone willing to depict the real human condition, not the drama, but the mundane, the ordinary, the truth that we're all just people living regular lives and pretending otherwise. Adrian smiled and nodded, trapped in the irony that his accidental honesty was being celebrated as intentional brilliance. Then she walked in. Eleanor, his ex-girlfriend from 2 years ago, the real reason he'd started painting in the first place. She'd been an artist too, always telling him to paint what he really felt, to stop trying to be what he thought the world wanted. He'd called her naive, told her the art world didn't care about real feelings. He'd left her to pursue his carefully calculated career. She stopped in front of a painting he hadn't noticed yet, one that must have appeared during the opening. It showed the two of them in her old studio, laughing while covered in paint. The title read, "The Last Time I Was Actually Happy." Elena turned to look at him, tears in her eyes. Adrian couldn't take it anymore. He walked to the center of the gallery and raised his voice. "Everyone, I need to tell you something. None of this was intentional. I didn't paint these. I mean, I did, but not like this. They changed. Everything I tried to paint came out as the truth instead of what I wanted to show you. This whole exhibition is a mistake." The gallery went silent. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Soon the entire room was applauding. "Incredible!" someone shouted. "Even your confession is performance art." "The layers," another voice called out. "He's deconstructing the very act of artistic honesty." Adrian wanted to scream, but Eleanor was walking toward him, weaving through the crowd. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. "Outside?" They stood on the gallery steps. The sounds of the opening muffled behind them. The city moved around them. Cars, people, the ordinary chaos of a Friday night. "I don't understand what happened," Adrian admitted. "I tried to paint lies, and truth came out instead. I've been cursed to only paint what's real." Eleanor smiled. "That's not a curse. That's a gift. It's also not magic. It's just you, finally." "What do you mean?" "You were always honest, Adrian. That's what I loved about you. But you were so convinced that honesty wouldn't sell, wouldn't succeed, that you spent years trying to be someone else. Maybe you just got tired of lying. Maybe your hands finally rebelled." She pointed back at the gallery. "Those paintings in there, they're more valuable than anything you could have faked, because they're real, and real is rare." "But I'm not tortured," Adrian said. "I'm not deep. I'm just ordinary." "Everyone is ordinary," Elena replied. "That's the secret nobody wants to admit. We're all just people, living regular lives, feeling regular feelings. The extraordinary thing is being brave enough to show it." A painting materialized in Adrian's mind. Not dramatic, not performative. Just Elena standing here on these steps, with the city lights behind her, looking at him with understanding instead of judgment. He could see it perfectly, could feel his fingers itching to paint it. "I miss you," he said. The truth, simple and unadorned. "I know," she said, pointing at the gallery. "I saw the painting." He laughed despite himself. "Is there one of you too? Somewhere?"